Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Stephen McGinnis. I am a student senator for the Wilson College of Textiles. I'm a junior slash third year, and I'm studying PCC, and I currently serve as the webmaster, most importantly, within Student Senate. Today's video will be mostly specifically on how a Senate meeting runs, but for a quick rundown of just in general, how we at student government work. We have a website here. Again, there's just quick about us. We have 5 branches. Essentially, we have the executive branch, we have a Senate, and we have a Board of Elections, Treasury, and Judicial branch. All within our Constitution kind of outline exactly where and what we can do. And then deeper within our Constitution has our statutes, which kind of dive deeper into specifics of our Constitution. And that is about 131 page document here that all of y'all have access through Google Drive. What a Senate meeting looks like. Senate meetings happen every other Wednesday, roughly, with holiday breaks kind of breaking up some in between and kind of the exact sequencing of it all. But again, they can be found on the calendar. This one was called on August 24th, 2022, which is just going to be our brief overview. And then I will actually make a full video on this meeting specifically. But they're called to order usually around 7:30 p.m. And we go through a recitation of our student government mission statement, which can be found right there below. And then we go through an opening roll call, which is just to ensure that we have enough present to go through quorum, which is just essentially that we have enough people to make sure that our legislation is valid. After that, we have this opportunity in receipts and petitions of correspondence addressed to the Senate for any essentially like department within NC State, this specifically being student leadership and engagement, to kind of address us and give us opportunities of feedback, or them to get opportunities of feedback from us as well. And so this is a really nice opportunity that a lot of different departments utilize, which we are thankful for. After that, we have the approval of the journal of the previous meetings minutes. And of course, right now I'm actually looking at these meeting minutes from August 24th. After that, we have an opportunity for any student not, and this is key, not a current or former member of student government, to kind of have an open floor to talk and give announcements or possibly ask questions to the Senate, which is a really big opportunity that I recommend anyone, whoever has any questions about a lot of things, just to come here. After that, we have the reports of the officers. We have 4 SBOs and then our pro tempore. After that, there's a bunch of various different reports from different organizations and student government delegations, including the Association of Student Governments, which is essentially like massive UNC system, then the Board of Elections again, and then we have a bunch of committees that essentially produce legislation and check through legislation from first reading to second reading, which we'll get into here soon. After that, we have the report of our student government advisor, who is Kelly. After that, we have our comments and announcements, and that's for any current or former member of student government. So that was a specific where it's like none, and then this is a portion where a lot of people give announcements. I give a lot of announcements during this period in Senate. And then after that, we have this period, which is like maybe not here in the future, who knows. It's called the confirmation of resignations. After that, we have the approval of different appointees in this period. Sometimes we have none, and sometimes we have a lot, like in this period. And so this can be either we can appoint senators to vacant Senate delegations, which I'll kind of dive into vacant Senate delegations here soon. We also have the opportunity to appoint, allocate elections commissioners and allocation officials. So various, like the Treasury branch, the Judicial branch, all those we can kind of appoint different people, as well as appointing different positions. Like myself here, I got appointed Senate webmaster. Woo! After that, this is just the minutes. So this is, of course, just kind of like what went down. They have the opportunity to give their oath, which is essentially just, saying that they will uphold the various constitutions and statutes that we hold ourselves to. After that, there's a period for veto messages, which I've never seen our SBP give. Kind of a good thing. But it is there in case we do have any vetoes. And after that, there's this opportunity for a consent agenda, which essentially moves everything to second reading, that like the student senate president will essentially be like, yeah, people will most likely like be cool with that. So it's just kind of like, boom, we're going to second reading with that. In stuff that is not in the consent agenda will be brought up to the first reading legislation, and that essentially will have the opportunity for first reading of legislation. Long title is led by the legislative secretary. Different than the secretary who does our minutes and roll call, the legislative secretary ensures that legislation is up to standards before being presented, and also reads these long titles, which in this case, the long title was not extremely long, but in some cases it can be like 5 or 6 lines. This is a long title. And after that, there's a motion for fast track for some pieces of legislation, which is essentially like the consent agenda, except it actually has to get votes. And this fast track for legislation moves it straight to second reading, besides of all other first readings get a referral to a committee. And then the committee can be able to essentially work on it, ensure that it's up to our standards before bringing it to Senate, so we don't have Senate having to do a bunch of like amending where committees can do other those amendings and then bring it. And so we don't have to spend as much time in Senate. And then after that, we move into the second reading of legislation. And that is essentially stuff that either got motioned to fast track, consent agenda, or has come from the committee after first reading and has been brought back up. And that is an opportunity so that we can discuss different legislation that we want to either help student senate, help student government, or help all of our constituents. And after that, which can take a fairly long amount of time, sometimes leading to midnight, we get into miscellaneous business, did the onboarding forms. And specifically for this, the senator appointment application. There is still some vacant positions for anyone that's interested. Currently, I believe we have filled the delegations of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Wilson College of Textiles, College of Education, College of Agricultural Life Sciences, and our first year delegation. So if you're in those, unfortunately, they're full. Doesn't mean you can't not. There's still opportunities to go into the executive branch, and there'll be elections in March. But those are unfortunately full. But if they're not, consider filling one out. And then after that, we have comments and announcements. It's essentially another form for me to talk a lot. And then after that, we have a closing roll call. Again, this is a little attendance. And then we have adjournment. And so, yeah, that's essentially how the meetings go. I will have more videos on each specific meeting and kind of diving into what actually happened here soon. But yeah, I hopefully enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. There should be a description of like the websites and various websites in the YouTube description. And then I recommend following all of our social medias. I live tweet Senate on Twitter. We have a TikTok at NC State Student Senate. Our Twitter and Instagram is at NC State Student Government. And we have a Facebook that essentially just runs parallel with posts with our Instagram. And then if you have any questions, you can email me at sjmcguin@ncsu.edu or my webmaster email, student-senate-web@ncsu.edu. Again, if you have any questions, DM us or comment or email. And yeah, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening.